Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WWE Smackdown Live, October 25th, 2016 review. I have to say this much, ladies and gentlemen, I was actually okay with this episode. Wasn't the greatest episode of all time, but it sure as hell outdid Monday Night Raw from yesterday. There is no doubt in my mind that this show was way better than Raw. With Raw being 3 hours, you would think that Raw could be a better show than SmackDown, and it's nowhere near it. SmackDown is crushing, in my opinion, WWE Raw on all cylinders. There is no doubt in my mind. I mean, you got storylines being built, you got things going on, surprises that you don't expect coming sometimes. Two of them that actually did occur in this show. That I will talk about as I move through the entire review. And on top of that, you had some decent promos, especially by the Women's Championship promo segment that I was highly impressed on by the Angelina Bliss. I was very impressed by her in-ring ability on the mic to just display such great natural ability to, speak her mind, don't sound like she's just reading dialogue from a piece of paper, and sound more like herself. She sounded more like she had freedom of speech or freedom of creativity on the mic tonight. So I was very impressed with that. And of course, Becky Lynch was pretty good on the mic as usual. I mean, she's not too bad. She's sometimes a little over the top, but overall, she's a pretty decent, she's pretty decent on the mic. But let's go ahead and move along here, start the show off. First thing that happened was Bray Wyatt and Kane in a no DQ match. Why this was the opening show, I have no idea. Why Kane was on this show, I have no idea. Kane happened to be in the match last week in the open casket match, where Randy Orton was going against Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, which ended with Kane helping Randy Orton. Well, this match was, I don't know, great. I don't think so. I highly doubt it. I thought it was okay. I'd give it maybe like a 2.5 out of 5 stars just to be nice. I mean, quite honestly, Bray Wyatt won thanks to the help of Randy Orton. Didn't quite understand any of that nonsense. Why that happened, I have no idea. Completely idiotic, insane shit, but surprising no less. Later on during the show, Randy Orton's asked about his actions, which is shocking. They actually go with an explanation later on during the night to explain why Randy Orton did what he did, which was shocking altogether, and he just said, if you can't beat him, join him. So apparently we're assuming that this is the insight of Randy Orton becoming one of the Wyatt family members. Or is this just a diversion to get Bray Wyatt to think he's on his side and then later turn his back on Bray Wyatt and strike him when he least expects it? Which I think probably would be the safe route to go with that idea that Randy Orton is just looking for a way to strike on Bray Wyatt when he least expect the attack to happen. Which I don't understand why Bray Wyatt would dare trust Randy Orton when they've been in a rivalry since after SummerSlam. So there you go on that one. Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss, I already discussed that later on. The only thing I didn't discuss is later on during this segment, it does turn into a brawl. They do beat the hell out of each other, and Alexa Bliss walks away looking strong at the end of the segment. She also sprays a yellow strip down on the back of Becky Lynch, which I didn't understand why. She was looking like she was going NWO style and just spray paint a line on her back. Have no fucking idea except saying that she's yellow and that she's scared or a coward. Next match we had was the Ascension and the Hype Bros competing against each other for a qualification match to determine who would get to represent SmackDown in the Tag Team Survivor Series traditional elimination match. Of course, the Hype Bros walk away with this win. Mojo gets the pinfall victory with the Hype Rider. Whatever the case that may be. We also had Natalya. Daniel Bryan initiated Natalya into a one-on-one match with Nikki Bella to determine who will be leading the women's division on Smackdown against Raw's women's division, which should be quite interesting, I think. Natalya and Nikki Bella, and Natalya got tapped out by Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella actually picks up the victory. I didn't actually see this match, but after the match was over, Carmella came down to the ring and beat the hell out of Nikki Bella after the match was over. Miz, he comes out with the Spirit Squad. That segment was probably the worst segment of all. It was like watching kids on a playground during recess talk shit towards each other like idiots. That's all this segment was. Probably the worst segment of Dolph Ziggler's career, quite honestly. I don't know what the hell that was all about. Dolph Ziggler should be moving on to bigger and better things, and so should The Miz. I believe Miz should be doing something else with his time, focusing on trying to get to the top of the WWE SmackDown roster and become a number one contender for the world title. Instead, he's more concerned about trying to win a freaking secondary major championship on SmackDown. Absolute stupid shit. Absolutely retarded. Dolph Ziggler should be moving on to a new opponent. I think his new opponent should be Baron Corbin. Why Baron Corbin was not on this fucking card is beyond me. Where the hell was he tonight? He's been doing excellent. I've been very impressed with Baron Corbin. I mean, he's got some work ahead of him, but man, oh man, does this guy deserve a mid-card championship match? Dolph Ziggler would be great. Those two could, probably make up for where they lost on the whole storyline that they had during the time that the rosters were all together. With a title on the line, I think this would make the rivalry between Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler much better than it was the last time they fought earlier this year. That's just my opinion. I think with a title on the line, a decent storyline behind it to why, I think that would be the best situation for Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler, with Dolph Ziggler holding on to that Intercontinental title. Right now, Dolph Ziggler, after achieving something, he almost lost his career. He has to defend his title against The Miz. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. Have Miz move on to something bigger and better. Have Miz go out and say, hey, you know what? I lost the championship. I'm going on to something bigger and better. I made the Intercontinental title big. Dolph Ziggler won it. Beat me for it. Fine. Let him have his so-called victory. I'm going to become a world heavyweight champion. Vow to be the champ. Go on and have a winning streak. That's what they should have been doing with The Miz. Instead, the last 2 weeks, they've been having him in worthless crap with Dolph Ziggler, and it's not helping neither person in this situation. I don't like this whatsoever. I think they're making a bad decision on this, but hopefully it just ends it, makes Dolph Ziggler stay the champion. Miz goes on to do something else with his career, keeps moving forward, and hopefully at some point is good enough to WWE audience and the WWE officials to put him in World Championship matches, as he was at one point in time in his career. But if he does, great. If he doesn't, I don't really give a shit, because I don't particularly care for him that much for him to be in a world title picture. But that's what I would assume they would want to do with him after he did a pretty decent job as Intercontinental Champion and his promos with Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler for that Intercontinental title until he lost it to Dolph Ziggler at that point. With this segment, it brought on a impromptu tag team championship match with Heath Slater and Rhino against the Spirit Squad, which is Kenny and I believe some other dude, I don't know, Nikki, some shit, who fucking knows. I think Nikki was Dolph Ziggler's character at the time. Not that it really fucking matters. Miz and Dolph Ziggler have a commentary dispute with each other. They take off their microphones, their headsets, and they almost go at it. And Heath Slater throws one of the Spirit Squad members at them both, and then one of the other Spirit Squad member tries to attack Heath Slater. He dodges the clothesline and gets gored by Rhino for the 1, 2, 3. So, with that being said, moving on to the main event, AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose. I was actually impressed by this matchup. Very good wrestling by both men. But, and this is a big but, why this happened, I don't know. I don't understand why Dean Ambrose just wouldn't get a win over AJ Styles in this match, but he did not. He had a disqualification occur because AJ Styles decided to drop kick James Ellsworth, who's been on a winning streak, so-called, against AJ Styles. And AJ Styles was pissed off with him being out in the ringside. He decided to beat him up like a rag doll, which case he did, and he got away with it. Once AJ Styles was outside the ring, James Ellsworth super kicked him. Looked like a great imitation of Shawn Michaels with a sweet chin music, they were kind of calling it. And he got himself and Dean Ambrose intentionally disqualified without realizing the referee was staring at him. Now, to me, this was 30 minutes of great action, ended with a fucking awesome super kick, but disqualification nonetheless. I honestly think that was a complete waste. Should have never happened. I think the match should have ended with Dean Ambrose winning the match by a roll-up pin or countering the phenomenal forearm with the Dirty Deeds maneuver and getting the 1, 2, 3. Ellsworth was no help to Dean Ambrose. Ellsworth should have never been at ringside, but that was par for the course. It was supposed to happen. You could definitely tell that something was going to go on. There was going to be some kind of controversial ending. So to get all completely bent out of shape, which I'm not, but I was kind of hoping for, even though with the, distraction, I could say, with James Ellsworth being there, you'd think that distraction would have been caused to AJ Styles because he was so focused on beating James Ellsworth that his attention was taken away from Dean Ambrose, that he ends up losing the match, making Dean Ambrose the number 1 contender. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. So, my personal opinion, it was great, but it sucked because of the ending. But am I going to absolutely destroy the match itself and say, oh, this whole fucking show blowed? No, it didn't. There was a few things on this show that need some, I would say about 3 things. 1, Kane and Bray Wyatt should have never been on the card. But Randy Orton's turn, so-called turn, quote-unquote, of him turning on Kane, becoming part of the Wyatt family, is a little bit of an interesting twist that could leave you scratching your head or maybe possibly making you realize that Randy Orton's going to turn on Bray Wyatt at some point. The Dolph Ziggler Miz segment, complete garbage. Did not like that. And the ending to the AJ Styles Dean Ambrose match, what really sucked. But going over the other matches that I have here, to go over the results of the matches, or ratings of the matches, Kane and Bray Wyatt, again, 2.5 out of 5 stars. The Ascension versus the Hype Bros, give that a 2.5 out of 5 stars as well. Let me see here. Also, Nikki Bella and Natalya, I didn't watch this match. I'll be nice, though, and say it was a 3 out of 5 stars anyway. The Beauty and the Beast, Heath Slater and Rhino versus The Spirit Squad, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. For the ending and plus some of the in-ring action was pretty good. AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose, I give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Would have given it a 4.5 out of 5 stars if it wasn't for the awkward finish with the DQ. But anyway, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate if you watch this whole video and leave your comments and opinions down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that, as well as hit that subscribe button. We're at 68 subs. Want to keep this this channel growing. Hopefully at some point getting it big enough where maybe I'll start investing a little bit more into the camera work, getting some better camera video, such as audio and visual presentation. But at this point, I'm just going to be where I am until I start seeing that I'm getting more attention by you guys, seeing that you guys are interested in what I have to say, not just based on the presentation, but what my logical reasoning behind the show is, and what I think they should or shouldn't do, per se. But anyway, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for watching. Again, leave the comments and opinions down below. Hit the subscribe button, and have a great night, guys. Bye.